All right. Okay. It looks like we are live across multiple platforms. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine. Thank you for joining me on Twitter, Periscope, the After Effects Facebook page, as well as on YouTube. And today's topic, brief topic as it will be, single topic, single application use, is something which has been a request this week. I've heard it from several different users, which is the ability to create or how to create Polywav files, or somewhat more commonly known multi-channel wave files, directly inside of Audition. Of any basic channel configuration. So we're not just talking about mono or stereo. What's up, Anel Henning? Hey, Desiree. Hey, Matthew Grant. So not just mono or stereo or 5.1, which of course Audition understands and can mix natively as well as Premiere. But what about if we needed to make a 3-channel file? Or in the case of working with ambisonics, a 4-channel ambisonic file to then be used in Premiere Pro? Or what if we need to actually create an 8-channel file, i.e. a 7.1 audio container that we can use in some kind of encoder to encode in Dolby 7.1 or something like that? Well, you can make any numbered channel configuration inside of Audition, and you can even add channel labels, which for certain file types will actually save with the metadata. That's kind of part of the brilliance of creating polywaves. What's up, David Presenter? Was if you save out as broadcast wave, which is our standard, it'll capture that additional metadata, and that will be able to be read by other applications and encoders and things like that. So lots of flexibility when it comes to making polywaves, and I'm going to show you real quickly now how you can do that using a couple of existing files, and then we'll make a few from scratch and just kind of give you a few ideas. So as always, I've got my 3 chats going here. So what's up, Zebrafish? Feel free to drop a comment, say hello, say ask any questions here. I'm going to start to go through this, and then I'll try and take most of your questions towards the end. All right. So let's go ahead and switch over my screen here to Audition. Some might be asking, why are you showing this on the After Effects page today? Well, we were on CC earlier this week, Premiere Pro yesterday. And this is something which anybody who works in post-production should know. It doesn't matter which side of the post-production fence you're on. We tend to jump the fence. Stop with the metaphors, dude. We tend to wear multiple hats in production, so good thing to know. What's up, Gavin Murdoch from Bonnie, Scotland? Marcelo, hello. George from Greece, great to see you. All right. So let's start with something really basic, right? But out of the standard configuration of audio files. In other words, out of your standard mono stereo 5.1. So we're going to start with making something like, let's say, a 3-channel audio file. Now, curiously, there's always anecdotal information when you watch my streams. It wasn't so long ago, well, it really was, 50, 60 plus years ago, that 3-track recording machines were kind of the thing, particularly for late 50s, early 60s pop and jazz. And the concept behind 3-track recording that made it popular was that they would effectively record the band in stereo or some kind of mixed mono, or really it's multi-track mono. And then you'd have the vocal discreetly placed on the 3rd track. So you'd have kind of a mix, whether it was actual stereo or reprocessed stereo on channels 1 and 2. And then you'd have the discrete vocal on track 3 or channel 3. And the idea there was that you could then control the balance of that vocal, adding echo, adding other types of effects and things, because ultimately that was really what sold the song. So 3-track recording, commonly used, I think, like Roy Orbison. Lots of 3-track recordings from Roy Orbison. I know this personally because I remastered his entire catalog as part of my first major mastering gig back in the Nashville days with my mentor, Roger Nichols. So 3-track, 3-channel. Now, again, how would you go about doing that? And why would you even want that today? Well, you probably wouldn't want a 3-channel file necessarily, but you can make them. And for the same reason, what if we want a stereo mix discreetly placed on 1 and 2 and a voice discreetly placed on 3? Or maybe in terms of just a basic documentary, and we have all of the background music, sound effects, and ambience contained in stereo on 1 and 2, and then we have the dialogue on track 3 or channel 3. Lots of reasons why you might want to make one of these things. The key is you can make them very easily, and it's just a matter of copying and pasting data from stems into these multi-channel polywaves real easily. You like Periscope. Nice. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to do that. So first, here's the source material. This is a track of mine where I created just that, a stereo, what's known as a TV track mix. TV track comes out of, again, that 60s era television broadcast where you'd have pop artists go on and they would often either lip sync or sing live over top of a pre-recorded stereo or mono track. That was known as the TV track. And the track was for TV. It was all the background elements, including background vocals, but no lead vocal. So that's what we have here for my song called The Toot Toot Monster. This is a little remix version, so take a quick listen to this just in left-right stereo. All right, so there is the stereo backing track. All right, now here is the vocal for that. All right, again, in mono, discreetly placed by itself, and mixed as well. It already has all the mix effects and everything, but maybe we want to do some reconfiguring for this later. Maybe we just want to package this up in a real easy way to give to my editor, right? He doesn't need stems upon stems. I can just give him one polywave, an interleaved wave, and he can break it out into mono stems once it's in Premiere or anywhere else. So there's actually lots of reasons why polywaves are kind of cool. Here is the discrete vocal. If you are what you eat, from your head down to your feet, and baby, that may be why not even onions make me cry like a toot-toot monster. Okay, and you can hear the piano bleed coming in through my live mic. Yes, recorded live. If you've watched me before, you know I record everything live. All right, what's up? I'm a clip from Quebec. Moad from Libya, nice to see you. Okay, very sweet. Cool. Oh, we've got some friends chiming in on YouTube as well. Youssef, how are you? F. Smitic, Claudio, and Aunt Pruitt. Damn straight, my friend. Super busy this week. Streaming. And El Henning, is that me? Yes. All me. All me. Singing my favorite song about flatulence, The Toot Toot Monster. Available on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music, and wherever music is streamed or sold. Okay, so let's go ahead and make that file. New file, audio file, up here at the top, all right? We're going to choose new audio file, and we'll call this 3chan TTM for Toot Toot Monster. I'll keep the sample rate at 48K because that's what the original was. Again, you can dial in whatever sample rate you need. 48, 96, 44.1, probably going to be the standards that you'll be working with. And then you have bit depth. All right, what do we want to keep this? Well, we can maintain the original. We can keep it at 32-bit float. And then you have channels as well as some presets. Now, these are the standards that we give you, 5.1, mono, and stereo. These other ones here that I made these myself because I had to hand off some polywaves in a 3-channel and a 7.1 configuration. So let's go ahead and make a new 3-channel configuration like this. All right, we're going to go into custom. And when we do that, you'll see that now you have this kind of layout where we can create a series of channels. Well, the last one that I made is remembering the last modification that I made here was for a 7.1 Dolby configuration. Let's just delete the ones that we don't need, and we're going to use channels 1, 2, and 3. Now, theoretically, I don't need channel labels on this. I could just leave them 1, 2, and 3, but left, right, and center actually kind of makes sense. This is something which, again, you'd be able to read in the metadata here inside of Audition, and in fact, that is sort of how I would want it. I would want channel 1 on the left, channel 2 on the right, and then channel 3, that vocal, kind of dead center. Again, very traditional in the sense where you have just vocals and all of its effects contained right in the center of the sound field. That's okay. Again, you've got these channel labels. We'll come back to that when we create 5.1 and 7.1. But let's go ahead and click OK on this, all right? And we'll call this 3-channel Bcast. Why not? OK. There it is. OK. OK. All right. So now we see our blank canvas with our blank 3-channel audio file. And along the right-hand side here, we have channel labels. Left, right, and C for center. Now I'm going to come back to this. I just want to point out that if you right-click on these channel labels, or control-click, this will now give you all of the various options that we have to flag those channels in the metadata so that you can determine what they are, so that your application can determine what they are and what they're meant to be. So these can be changed after the fact, which is nice. Again, if I just want to go to simple 1, 2, 3 channel, no labels effectively, I can do that as well. All right. So how do we get the audio into here? All right. Well, again, I just had a friend contact me the other day. Oh, and Elle wants to become a channel expert. Cool. What's up, Jason? I just had a friend contact me the other day who had 8 channels of stems and needed to create a Polywave for a 7.1 mix. It was going to get encoded elsewhere. So this is the exact same process that I showed him. So basically what we have here is we've got our stereo TV track, which I'm just going to make sure you can see that. I'm going to move the files panel up here just for a second. So if I twirl down my stereo TV track, there it is, left and right. And then we've got our mono vocal here. And we need to get those files into this blank 3-channel canvas here. So here's how we do it. So we have to actually copy and paste these things independently. So I'm going to disable, meaning turn off the left and right, or rather channel 2 and channel 3, and only leave channel 1 enabled. You'll know it's enabled because it's in blue. If it's grayed out, it's not enabled. So let's go to the left channel of our stereo mix. I'm going to select the whole thing here. All right. Control C, Command C to copy. Let's go to our 3-channel file here. Make sure I'm at the beginning of the file itself, of the audio file. Command V, Control V, and paste into channel 1, left side, and there it is. Turn off the left side, channel 1, turn on the right side, channel 2. Let's go back over to the Toot Toot Monster here. Control C to copy the right channel of the mix over to our 3-channel file. Once again, with that selected, Control V, Command V, paste. Now we've got the right side in there. Okay, let's turn that off. Let's enable channel 3, or our center, all right? Same thing. Let's go ahead and wind the cursor back. Let's go to our mono vocal. I'm going to select it all. We're going to copy it back over to our 3-channel file. Make sure we're at the beginning. Make sure that the channel 3 is enabled. Command V, Control V, paste. Now turn everything on, and voila. We now have a 3-channel Polywave with discrete information in each of those channels that I can save and send off. All right, so let's go ahead and save this. 3-channel ttm.wave. Okay, and you can notice, by the way, if you notice up at format, I don't talk about this too often, but I did say earlier, I talked about broadcast wave. That is our standard BWAV, also known in the UK. That is our standard wave PCM file type. So you can denote .wave, .bwf, .amb. You can imagine that's for ambisonics. .rf64. You don't see too much of that these days. But these are just good to knows. Either way, we're going to contain broadcast wave data in the WAV file as well, whether you choose .wav or .bwf. So you have some options there. It just depends on what the system wants on the other end. So let's go ahead and save this. Click OK. Notice the file size. It shows me it's about 100 megs. All right. And then I'm just going to close this real quickly. Let's go ahead and reopen it. Open recent, 3-channel TTM. All right. Twirl it down. First and foremost, you'll notice that those channel configurations were maintained. All right. Where we changed the metadata for the channels. Right. And here's our WAV file. Simple, easy, done. What's up, Hulk Hogan? All right. Ibrahim Hamad, how are you? All right. Hiola Helio Mafoto. All right. So real easy, right? Super cool, super effective. Great way to make a 3-channel Polywave. All right. Now, what about taking something that's, say, 6-channel and then creating an 8-channel container from that? Now, it's a lot of copy and pasting, but it's really, frankly, very easy to do. So here's how you would break something out and then create something new. So here, for instance, I have already an already created multi-channel file from a performance that I did. This must have been from a video. I don't even remember doing this mix. It's of me and Fuzzy Island playing Shortening Bread, real old school blues song. Now you're only going to hear the front, left, and right over the stream here, but you can see that we've got 6 channels. And once again, leveraging those channel labels in the standard, industry standard and Dolby standard 5.1 configuration. The channel labels are left, right, center, sub, i.e. LFE, left surround, right surround, okay? But we need to be able to send this off to someone to create a 7.1 mix from this. Now 7.1 in the Dolby standard adds 2 additional specific channels for rear surround left and rear surround right. And it actually uses what here is left surround, right surround to be on the sides, okay? So we can actually, so much channeling. So we can change this around and kind of reconfigure this as need be. But the first thing we need to do is get all of this data out of here. Now we could just copy directly if we wanted to. So we could do channel to channel. I could simply copy from here and paste this into a new file. Or, as I'm just going to show you real briefly, from the Files panel, and by the way, you have the same option in Premiere, although it's located in a slightly different place, I can simply right-click on a multi-channel file. Oh, and by the way, it's also worth pointing out. Let me just make this full screen for a second here. And we'll get to this in a second. But you can see that it shows me the number of channels in each of my files. So we've got a mono one here, a stereo one here, 5.1, 4-channel, 3-channel. All right, real easy, real simple. So from the Files panel, I can actually right-click on a multi-channel file here, stereo, 3, 4, 8, 32, doesn't matter what it is, and I can say extract to mono files, all right? And as you'd expect, I think it's breakout to mono in the edit. Is it in the audio clip menu? I can't exactly remember where it is in Premiere. This is going to do just that. Now, what's really nice is that it also takes any of those pre-existing labels that are already there and appends them to the ends of each of those discrete channels. So just to kind of give you an idea, again, I don't even remember doing this mix, but so here's the center. So this is probably some guitar and some vocal. Okay, here's the left side. Sounds mostly like fuzzy. Here's the right side. Okay, that's me more discreetly on bass. Again, this is just live bass and guitar with 2 voices. Here's the LFE channel. You're not going to hear that, but I can feel it on my subwoofer down here. All right, obviously a lot of bass and low-end, low-frequency effects, which is what that stands for. And then for the surround channels, I probably did this using some of our surround reverb, so just to give a little bit of ambience. Okay, I was just amplifying that so you could hear it a little bit better. So that's the left surround channel. You can imagine the right surround is probably very similar. Okay. Hello from Portugal, Marcio. So again, all the data is already here ready for us, but now we just need to create that new file. So let's go up to File, New, Audio File, and we'll call this SB for Shortening Bread 7.1 interleaved. All right, or maybe we'll just call it 7.1 Polywav, okay? All right. This time we want to do a custom number of channels. So again, I've got my 1, 2, 3 here. 4 LFE, it automatically adds that. 5 left surround, automatically adds that. 6 right surround, automatically adds that. 7 center surround, we're going to change that. And 8 left center, we're going to change that. And you can keep on going. Now again, you don't have to put these channel labels in there. It's really more, you know, if the editor or somebody wants to kind of know what's on what, that's very helpful. Also, as I mentioned, because it gets flagged in the metadata, that data can be important for external encoders and such. But in this case, just to show you that we have the support for that in there, rear surround left is what you would want for the standard 7.1 mix. There's also, in some configurations, a hearing impaired track and a visually impaired audio track. I don't exactly know what those do in terms of like what their mixes of and what they contain, but that's another part of the spec. There's so many various configurations, particularly on the Dolby side, and then you have Atmos where you're adding channels that project sound from above, which, quite frankly, I've seen several Atmos productions, and that doesn't do it for me. Just being honest. 5.1 is enough. Frankly, stereo's enough, really, with a sub. Right? You want a sub. You want to feel it. But left, right, 2 ears, we're good. The brain knows how to interpret 360 sound pretty darn well. So just setting the channel configuration labels, boom, like that. And we'll call this, I already have one in here, but we'll do it again. 7.1 for, I'll call this one for Bcast, okay? So I have just a different name for it. All right, SB, Polywav, 48K, 32-bit float. Okay, there we go. Once again, blank canvas to work with. So the simplest way to do this, as I mentioned, we're going to turn off all the channels here. Okay, do this whole thing. And let's just start with the left. And I'll Control A, select all. Go back into our Polywav up here. All right, paste it in. No, Siri, I don't... What? Why did that even go on? Oh, it just throws me off. Siri. I thought I'd turned that off. Stupid thing. Also, not a huge fan of voice anything. Unless you just want me to yell at you. All right. Center. Let's grab that. Control A, Control C. Polywav, center, paste. LFE. Next. All right, come over to the LFE and paste. All right. Now, for what's happening here, where I had that sort of ambient surround from the 5.1 mix, the left surround, right surround channels, I actually want to paste those into the rear left surround and rear right surrounds, because for the 5 and 6 channels, we might add some different effects or something. The point is, I'm going to leave that open so our editor can add something there that they want to, or this could be added after the fact, or I could do it now. You get the idea. We can paste into different channel configurations at any point in time. So I'll take the left surround, Control A, or Command A, Command C. Let's go into rear surround left. Let's make sure that's enabled. Paste it. And this one here, rear surround right, enabled, pasted, okay. And now we'll turn all of these back on. All right. And there you go. And now we've got it. Beautiful. And at this point, oh, and by the way, it's just worth pointing out, this is something that's actually really cool. In Audition, if you can see here, inside of the frequency analysis, it'll show you frequency analysis for each of the individual channels, which is really useful, actually, particularly if you've got some kind of problem that you're trying to deduce. Sound engineer, indeed. I know, I can just keep on nerding out here. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. But what's useful about this is if you're trying to do things like hold positions, or again, just to kind of get a snapshot, you can also do holds for each of those individual channels. So you see, it held the green and the darker blue, and I can still play live and kind of, you know, have my hold position and then watch the averages. Obviously, this can get a little confusing as you begin adding more and more channels. Ultimately, it just looks really pretty. But this is also leveraging the new color scheme, the new color labels that we added in, was it the last version of Audition? I can't even remember which update. I think it was in the fall one. It's just way nicer to look at now. So we've got our file here. Let's go back to our file. Here's our short and bred Polywav. All right, go ahead and save that. All right, good to go. Again, if we wanted to, we could do BWF on this or .wav like that. Okay, good to go. Boom, just like that. Super cool. And again, notice down here, all of our channel labels. All right. Now, the last thing I just want to show you here, just because this is a workflow that we support as well, is working with things like ambisonics. So in ambisonics, now, fortunately, you don't actually need the channel labels for Premiere to understand a first order ambisonic, ambi-X encoded recording. It'll read those files. It understands what to do with those 4-channel files. But if you're going elsewhere or you need to add labels, again, you can do that too. You can even build 4-channel ambisonic files from here to be used in VR 360 edits that you're working in Premiere, even if they weren't ambisonic to begin with. So kind of a cool way, kind of a backwards way to record. You know, someone asked me recently, well, what if I'm recording 4 channels, but I didn't have the proper encoder? Well, you can still take 4 discrete channels and encode them into ambi-X and then create the interleaved file here in Audition. The encoding is kind of the tricky part, so you have to be conscious of that. But creating the interleaved file, whether it's a 4-channel config or a 6 or an 8, you can do that here. So here I have a 4-channel ambisonic. This was actually exported out of a Zoom H1N, but it doesn't have any channel labels. So just to kind of show you here, again, we could come up to this one here and we could say ambisonics W, all right, X, Y, Z, all right. And if we were to come over here, you can see that those now are displayed inside the files panel here. So just kind of showing you the label configurations. But that's really it, right? A simple, easy way to create Polywav files in any channeled configuration. By default, of course, we offer mono, stereo, and 5.1, but you can create any number of channeled wave files very, very easily. And incidentally, if I were to take this ambisonic one, let's do a save as here, you'll see it automatically knows that this is an ambisonic file, so it wants to save as .amb. We can do that as well, or we can save this back out as WAV. Either one will work. Let's go ahead and I'll stick this on the desktop as well. And we'll call this stream save OK. All right. Close that up. And again, we can bring that back at any time. All right. So there's our stream amb. There it is. Channel labels respected, right? Saved as part of the metadata. Very easily. I just missed a question there. Someone was asking about but in Audition, can you find out the sum time total of a number of files? Sum time total of a number of files. I'm not sure. Are you asking if it'll add durations, like lengths of specific files for you automatically? No. It will tell you the number of channels contained in a file, as I mentioned before. So like you can see, we just made that 7.1 file. It tells you 8 channels. And it'll give you durations. And you do have, what else do you have in here that we're not displaying? Oh, we're showing everything. Sample type. That's the only thing that I wasn't displaying. But no, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. But yeah, Audition doesn't have any way to add up like total time. Now, having said that, if you were to take, let's say, each of these files, so I'm going to copy this left one here, and I'm going to paste that at the end. Of course, if you were to like streamline a whole bunch of files together, this would give you the total duration down here. But that's a lot of manual work. You could also do that in the multitrack. But yeah, unfortunately, no, there's no way for it to time out X number of files. Of course, if they're all stems from the same source, they should all theoretically be the same length, so you could, do the math a bit more easily that way. But yeah, no, unfortunately, no other way to do that. Okay. So let's go over to the chat here. That is the end of our stream for today. I like these little short ones, although I don't know how short this actually was. How much time have we been going for? Longer than I think, probably. Okay. Can you split a track, Stephen Monroe, in multi-track view during playback, yet with a shortcut key as you could in Audition 3? Steve, I'd love to be able to answer that for you. I don't use shortcuts really ever. I know like 6. So if you haven't found it in this latest version of Audition, it may have just changed. Now, having said that, let me just back up a bit. We've done a lot of work in the last couple of versions, and certainly since Audition 3, when that was PC only, changing and modifying keyboard shortcut standards across the apps. And we did, of course, add a completely new keyboard shortcut editor. So if in Audition 3, if you know what that function was called, you can search on it here. I don't know if it was called split. Yeah, that just splits the selected clip. What were you asking? What was the question? Split a track. Yeah, you're wanting to split it in terms of the channels. It's maybe called channel split. Extract to mono. Yeah, so there's no... I'm not seeing one in here. And extract to mono doesn't have a shortcut. So, again, theoretically, if that's what it was in Audition 3, you could reassign it and do it that way. I assume that should probably... I mean, that's meant to be done kind of in the Files panel in the Waveform editor. Theoretically, you would then just bring them into the multitrack. Now, having said that, let me show you one little quick tip since you asked. Go back to my screen for a second here. Let's say I'm just going to make a new multitrack session. All right. So let's say you have 6 files that you want to bring into 6 channels. Oh, and by the way, the person who asked the length question, if you select everything and just drag it into a single track, that will actually stack all of them together, and then that's kind of a fast way to get your total duration. So better than adding stuff or, copy pasting. You just drag everything you want, drag it into a single track, and it'll add the duration for you. But this is not typically what you want to do, right? If we have a bunch of stems, we want to place them in individual tracks. So instead, if I go into the multitrack here and I hold down the Option or Alt key, notice that it will then take all of those stems and place them into discrete tracks. So if you were doing something where you were splitting stuff out into mono, person who asked on Facebook, Steve, this is how you then import them into the multitrack. So if you've got them broken out here, you could just drag them in like that. And again, that was the Alt or Option key. All right. Nice. All right. Scott Lang. Oh, nice. Okay. Remy Duff, how are you? Oh, thank you very much. All right. Scott, so these tracks didn't exist. You created them for this purpose. Yeah, exactly. So, and channels, just to be clear, right? Created those extra channels in the file. Anel Henning, like a container. Yes. All right. Lucas Hardy, thanks for getting me in touch with Adobe, figuring out this work. Oh, yes, Lucas. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. I know they're working on it, and I think they've up-leveled the issue, so that's good news, but sorry you have to deal with it in the interim. Okay, any more questions? No more questions, it appears. Nothing on Facebook, nothing on Twitter, nothing on YouTube. So that's it for today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Of course, you'll be able to watch the replay wherever you are, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, After Effects page, or my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you back on the stream tomorrow on the Premiere Pro Facebook page. I'm kind of in an audio mood, so maybe we'll come up with an audio thing. If not, might do something on color. If you've got any suggestions or things that you'd like to see, hit me up on Twitter at Beetlejace. It's in the lower third down below. And until then, I will see you again sometime tomorrow back on the stream. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, Anel. Thank you, Desiree. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. And now you get to watch me click off from all 3 streams. Take care. Bye-bye.